All right, we are live again, I do believe. At least we should be. And we're going to be doing some fun stuff here in a minute, everybody. Let me just get my windows situated here. And I also need to log into my Amazon thing here too and get that going. So let's preview that and go live. And yeah, we're going to be messing around with this beta on the Game Pass Ultimate thing because they just came up with a way that you can play this stuff on your iPhone. So why don't we pick this up. Now I'm going to put a chat in here. I'm going to put a chat in here to let everybody know that we are going to be recording while we stream here. I figured I would do one of those, can we do two things at once kind of thing? So I am recording a video while we stream. All right, there we go. I'm going to send that out to the mix. And just so everybody knows what we're doing. Okay, so. Let me say hello to some folks, and then we'll play around with this a little bit and see how this works. And I'm going to say hello to some of my friends first, and then we're going to get to work because I want to get I'm starting late today, so I want to get this done relatively quickly here. So MSX Droid is here. Hello. Chanflay98 is here. Romeric is here. Hello, hello. Who else we got? We've got Felipe wondering who's me. I'm me. Now you know who I am. Frank is here. Anthony Biacco is here. Sultan is here. Jim is hoping for good results. Yeah, me too. And yeah, we're going to try it with the Mac, with the Chromebook, and with the iPhone. And then the iPad will be the same thing. Now what I did off camera, just to show you how this works, is that, let me turn the brightness up a little bit here. The way this works is that they circumvented the App Store by creating a web app. This is like how, remember when Steve Jobs refused to make apps on the iPhone? He's like, everyone should just do a web app. Well, that's what they did here. So you click on the web app, and it loads up like an app, even though it's not an app. And this has gone out of style on the iPhone, but it's coming back with this because the App Store would not allow this as is, so they've created this thing here. Franz is here from Amsterdam. Hello there. BB Garnett is here. Paul Munger from the UK is here. Victor Santiago is here. Sultan is here. David Langley is here from the UK. Joe Nation is here. Hello. Chris Allegretta says, hello from crap weather in New England. Yes, we are not having a good day today. It's a very soggy, icky day. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is load up a game that I've been playing upstairs. Let's see how it works on here. All right, so I'm going to pick up the recording. Kind of where I left off here. I got a few more people to say hello to though first. Rob Hanks is here. Joe Nation is here from Germany. And Patrick is here from wherever Patrick is. Okay, so I'm going to jump back in. And then we'll take it from there. I also got the little 8-bit-do clip here that we can put on there in a second. Okay, so let's give this a shot and see what happens. I think I'm going to change the screen orientation just to make sure this works. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we have logged back into our cloud gaming beta here. I did put the phone in landscape orientation. Actually, you know what? I have to start on me because I was on the other side before. So I'm going to kind of do a show to the screen kind of thing here. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any chats on the Amazon side. I think we're good there. Okay, so let's pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so I logged back into the phone. We've got it loaded up now. It looks just like it did a minute ago, but now we are running inside of that web app. And just to show you how this works, if I jump out of here and just tap on the app, you can see it, again, pulls up just like an app would. Now I'm going to make the phone go landscape here just so that we have everything good to go when we're about to start playing. And what I'm going to do is actually continue a game that I was playing on my Xbox console a little bit earlier. I've been really into Wreckfest lately. So we're going to fire things up here and see how it goes. And this is very similar, if you've used the Android version, to how that works. You get the little rocket ship going here, and then your game will boot up. I'll turn the sound up a little bit here to see if we get any audio out of it. And there we go. It looks like it'll work with the touch display too. But because I've got the controller connected, we should be able to use this, and we'll see how this goes. Now, I'm connected currently to my Wi-Fi. What I found on the Android side as this is loading up is that it was a fairly low bitrate 720p streaming experience, and for a mobile phone screen, that's fine. You don't really need anything more than that, and that'll keep your data kind of at a minimum there. But let's see if it detects my controller here. And we're not off to a good start. Let's see. This is why it's beta. So I think the iPhone is picking up my button pushes here, but it looks like the... There it goes. Okay, I think we're coming together now. It had to sync up my data from my save game. All right, so we're going to let this do its thing, and it looks like this is why it's beta. I think I might redo this take. Let's see. Disconnected from cloud. All right, so let's quit game. Let's try this again. This may not work at all. So what can we salvage from that clip? Maybe I should start from the top. Got a super chat from Sultan. Thank you very much. From Beirut. Wow. Awesome. I think you're the first person we've had from Lebanon, at least the first that said hello from Lebanon. Neo Smith says, go vegan. I'm not quite ready to do that, but I definitely support people who are vegan. I have friends that are vegan too. So I am definitely about the healthy eating, trying to be. Although lately I have not been so good. All right, let's try this out here and see if we can get this going. Let me jump back in here and see if it's going to work. But note the beta, right? Let's see what happens here. George says I should totally try the Ethernet. I could hook this up to one of those docking stations and see what happens, right? Rob Hanks is wondering about this versus NVIDIA Game Stream. Yeah, so this requires Game Pass Ultimate. But if you have Game Pass Ultimate, this is part of the deal. And you know what's so weird is that we're getting such a lousy connection on this because I'm on like Wi-Fi 6. I've got nobody in the house right now. So this should be working much better on this phone. I'm not sure what's going on here. I might connect it to the Ethernet if we're still having trouble like this. This may not be a video. May not be ready for prime time yet, everybody. If not, we'll troubleshoot some of the networking problems here and see what we can come up with. It's always when I do this stuff live that these things happen. Let's see. Yeah, it's weird because I'm definitely... Let me check and make sure that the Wi-Fi is, in fact, working on here. All right, so I'm going to quit here real quick. And let me just double check and make sure my Wi-Fi, yeah, I'm definitely on the Wi-Fi. So the next thing to check would be to make sure that we're on the right Wi-Fi. And I've got a strong signal here. I think I am on this one. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cycle my Wi-Fi just to make sure that that's not the culprit. But I can't imagine anyone hooking Ethernet up to their phone for this purpose, right? Let's try this out here. And I'll double check the Amazon here just to make sure we're not missing anybody. Yeah, we're good. All right, so we'll go back into cloud gaming. And let's try this again. So we'll pull up the thing here and try this once more. Johnny Big wants to know, did we test this on the Shield TV? We actually tested this when we did the review of the original Android version. I'm pretty sure we did the Shield on that. Today we're going to focus on all the things that it didn't support before. George uses an Ethernet dongle. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ethernet is the way to go, for sure. No question about it. Sultan says, do I tell my family to leave the house? No, I don't, although right now they happen not to be here, so that that's worked out well today. But I've got a pretty good network now here. So generally, even if they're using the network, I've got a lot of upstream bandwidth, so I can usually handle it all. Yeah, it's still got a lousy connection. Yeah, it's going to drop out again. Well, let's run with it. I have a feeling that this is not detecting the connection sufficiently, but we'll find out. And thank you, Chris Allegretta, for the membership info. Yeah, we support YouTube memberships. If you go to Lon.TV/support, you can find me on there too. All right, so let's try. Yeah, I don't know why it says we're having trouble. It could just be what CDN they're connecting me to. So let's just do a quick run through here just to make sure it's going to work when we try this again. It is tiny on this screen, I'll tell you that much. All right, so we got to pick a vehicle that is eligible. This one's eligible. Okay. There's definitely some input latency, but it could be a function of our networking concerns here too. So let's see how this plays out. Felipe says the two computers behind me are draining the broadband. Yes, I would say that's probably the case. And unfortunately, Mark, I do not have a Stadia account anymore. I decided not to pay for it. So I will not be able to test that against this, but I can tell you that it cannot be a connection problem, because we wouldn't be having a decent stream right now. And I've got 2 gigabits of upstream bandwidth, and I'm only using about 10 for the stream. So we've got plenty of available bandwidth, especially on the downstream right now. I have a feeling that it's not properly detecting the quality of the connection, because it seems like it's streaming fine. Yeah, it's a little laggy, but it's not. It looks fine. And I think this game is running at it's like an Xbox console in the cloud, essentially. So the graphics are not going to be as good as they would be on your Series X, for example. And I'm not like seeing very well here because I am like completely looking on top of it. But there's definitely a lot of input lag. So I would say this is probably not something that I'm going to do often. But yeah, it seems to be playing fine. I have a feeling that that network thing is not detecting things properly, because we're not getting any kind of issues with the stream quality here. But if you're used to like something like Stadia, this is not going to be as good. I can tell you that much. At least not yet. And that was the case on the Android side also, because it's just not, it's very low bandwidth, which is good in the sense that you're not going to chew through your data cap. But it's working. Now, I don't get any rumble on the controller or anything like that. All right, let's take a look. So Ronald says, I don't think you get bad connection warnings with good Wi-Fi. It's the service, and it still runs well. Yeah, so that looks like what we're experiencing here. It looks like that is definitely the case. All right, so let's quit this real quick. And this game may not be the best one to demo because I can't really. I should probably put it on the clip and rejigger the camera. The cool thing though is that this button works. It's like all the buttons are mapping properly, which is good. And I think too, I'm a little spoiled by this game running on the this game on the Series X is awesome. Like, it runs extremely well. Cajoling Technologies, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for saying hello. Hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. And Gorilla Jones says yeah, so it looks like it's just the, yeah, because it's stable. It's holding its connection fairly well here. All right, so we're going to take this from the top. And I'm going to say, should I say it's bad? It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It was kind of in the middle, but I'll give it good for now. And I can choose my platform. Oh, platform. Play anywhere. Okay. I'll tell you more later. Okay, so there we go. So that might, I think what I might do is load up Hot Shot Racing, because that one is a little, it's not as demanding on the hardware in the cloud, so I think that might run better. It might be a better demo. And Chris Allegretta said, I've seen lag with xCloud that I don't see with Stadia. Yeah, Stadia is, I think, probably one of the better streaming systems out there. For sure. But the latency is, I could feel the latency on this. So, and I could feel it on the Android version too. So it's not the best. So you can see when I push that. See that? You can almost feel it. And it's like that in the game too. You can really feel that going on there. Okay, so I'm going to take it from the top, because that obviously was I think it got tripped up because it was syncing up the game and stuff, so we'll see how it does on the next round here. Let's take a look and see. It does seem to work as well as the Android one does from the standpoint of things loading up, so we'll have to see how that comes together. And we'll go from there. I'm getting a lot of requests for games to try out, so we'll get there. I really want to just try to test the platforms, because we did test the gameplay in the prior video. So, all right, so let's go back. So we're going to pick it back up on me because the prior take had it on the phone, and then we'll kind of demo it there. What I could even do is throw it in the clip, and that might actually be easier for me to play. So I think what I can do here is zoom the camera in a little bit on camera 2. But maybe we'll start it this way just to keep it simple. I'm just trying to I'm trying to get through this, because like we're going to test a lot of different computers in this video, so I want to make it as efficient as possible. So as you know, I'm about efficiency is my shtick. And as Kazi said, the lag is real with xCloud. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what. I think as an add-on demo, add-on bonus kind of thing, it's cool that it's not an extra thing you have to pay more for. It's just there. So if the game that you're playing is good for that, it works well. All right. Yeah, so we'll see what games we'll play here. But again, I just want to get through all these different platforms is kind of my take with this here. All right. You know what's so funny is how, like, traffic on, so right now on my Amazon stream, I've got like 8 people watching me. And then on the YouTube one, we're doing better than we usually do. Usually it's the other way around. Amazon usually does better. Okay, so let's pick it up from here. And we're going to start anew. And I'm going to load up Hot Shot Racing. And the reason is that's like a faster running game. And I just want to kind of show that it works. And then we'll maybe, you know what I'll do too while we're doing this, is I will see if I can get my Unify access point here. So I'm pretty sure, oh, we lost my connection to the, bear with me, folks. Because what I think I can do here also is show you the bandwidth that the phone is using, which I think would be kind of fun. Let's see if we can get this to work without crashing my computer. All my equipment is very temperamental today. So I'm trying to get my little Elgato dock here to, there it goes. Okay, so now we're good. So we're going to do that. It looks like I've got that in place. I'm going to log into my router so I can show you the bandwidth that the phone is using. Because I can actually dial in the phone itself on my list, and I think it gives us an idea as to what the bandwidth consumption is. My guess would be on this that it'll be the same as it would be on Lon's iPhone. Let's see what my IP address is here. Bear with me for 1 second, folks. We're just troubleshooting through some stuff. So Wi-Fi, we're at 91. Okay, that's me. Perfect. Yeah, so my Wi-Fi connection is more than fine. And how do I see the consumption? Well, I see what I can do. Okay, so it's going to give me a real-time look at it. Okay. Yeah, so we can actually get a view of it. It's just that it's going to have it with a whole bunch of other stuff. I wonder if I could I can filter it. Cool. So let's filter that. Bear with me. I'm just going to get this on the list here. Device. And we'll go off the basement. That'll make it a little bit easier. Okay. Yeah, so they don't let you filter it down by the specific client, but I can get the data rate on that. Okay, good. I think we're good there. And Diego, thank you for following me on Amazon. Okay, so I think we're ready to reset this. I'm missing a lot of comments because I'm kind of working as I go here. And I see a lot of you are helping each other out, so that's great. And Chris M says he's noticed that the XS optimized games, which is the one we were just playing, have some lag. That seems like it could be what it is. Venom Stakes, I will give it a shot if I have time. We're really more focused on the platform right now. But I don't even know if it's on here. Is Call of Duty Warzone on this? Let's see. Let's take a look and search for it. Yes, so Call of Duty Warzone is not on xCloud. So you can't play it. Because it's got to be part of the offering. So even if you have it on your console and own it, it's not going to show up here. It's only games that are on Game Pass. So unfortunately, I cannot help you there. All right. Okay. Yeah, so it's definitely in beta, as everybody mentioned. So we'll be careful to mention that. All right, so let's try this from the top here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got it logged in now, and the web app is loaded up here. And what we're going to, oops, let me start this again. I looked down at the thing. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got it loaded up now and logged in, and it looks a lot like the Android app does with a bunch of games that we can play. Now what I'm going to do here is just get the phone into landscape mode, just because the games we'll be playing are in that mode. And I'm going to load up Hot Shot Racing here to start. This is a nice game. It's not too demanding on even the regular Xbox console. And my understanding is that the cloud server that we're connecting to is basically an Xbox One device, not something fancier than that at the moment. So we're going to connect to that one. I'm just going to let this run out so you can see how long it takes to connect. This takes about the same length of time that I remembered the Android version taking, so it's pretty much the same so far. And we'll see how things get together here. Now what's happening is that it's spinning up an instance of an Xbox in the cloud and then booting everything up. I will turn the volume up here a bit too, and I'll hit start playing, and we'll see what happens. Now, one thing I noticed, we were running through this on a live stream a minute ago, is that the connection strength indicator here does not appear to be accurate. So it's going to give us some warnings here. It was doing this before, but we found that even with a quote-unquote poor connection, it was playing just fine. So we'll see how this comes together. I also found that when you're first loading up the games, there is a bit of a delay in that it's got to sync up your save game with the cloud server. So I'm going to let this finish loading, and when it's done, we'll come back and see how this game plays. Yeah, it's doing exactly what the other one did. There it goes. Now it's working. I just wanted to have a good break point for the take, so this will probably work. And what's good is that we tested this also on the, there we go. All right, Hot Shot Racing. We're going to log in. I'm just going to do a single race here. Basically, even though it's got a lousy connection, it's still working. It looks just fine, doesn't it? I'm just doing all the defaults here. Just get me into the game. This is a fun game if you haven't played this before. That's what I love about Game Pass. There's so many cool games to play in xCloud. It's Game Pass Ultimate, whatever. All right, so we'll let this load up here. And it looks like the phone is pushing down about 12 megabits per second right now, which for game streaming is not that much. All right. So let's hit the record button here. Actually, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so the game has loaded up and it's synced up all of my save game stuff just like the Android version does. And again, this game is pretty fun to play because it's not all that demanding on the hardware. The lag feels about the same as it does on the Android side. It is a little laggier than some of the other streaming services out there, but it seems to be working okay here. The game looks great. Performs pretty nicely. There's no rumble on the controller, probably because we're using a web app, so you won't be able to feel any of the rumble you would feel on your regular console, but it seems to be running at a solid frame rate here. This is a game that runs at 60 FPS, and on my phone here it appears to be running at that level. Right now you can see that the connection strength indicator is pretty much giving me a warning, but the game is working just fine. We're getting all the input here, and I'm not paying attention, so I'm crashing the car quite a bit. But overall, seems to work just like the Android one does for the most part. The Xbox button here works just like it does on the Android app, so it looks like all the buttons are mapped correctly here. And the other thing you can do is you can also pick up the phone and actually use touch controls, even though we're not using an official app here, which is pretty neat. So I don't know where the gas pedal is here. There it is. Maybe that's it. There it goes. So you can do a little touch display stuff with it, but I would prefer to use the controller. One thing that we reviewed recently was this clip that 8BitDo sent us free of charge for the official Xbox controller, where you can clip your phone to it. This one might be worth picking up if you're going to play around with it. So on the iPhone, at least, from this, kind of a quick look at it, it feels a little rougher than the Android version does, but pretty close to the experience I had there. It looks great on the display here with this game, at least. And I think it's something that will give you the experience that a lot of Android users are experiencing right now. And again, if you've got an Xbox or a PlayStation controller, this should work fine with it. For bandwidth, it looks like we're pulling down about 10 to 11 megabits per second, maybe 11.5 as I'm looking at things right now on my router. So this is one of the lower data rate game streaming services out there. And this is under ideal circumstances right now in my home with the fiber optic internet. So if you're out on the road using LTE or 5G, it'll be probably a little less than that. All right, so now that we know the iPhone works, and by extension the iPad should work pretty well too the same way, let's take a look at a Chromebook now. All right, I think that'll work. It's going to be one of those talker videos, right? And I'm sorry I'm missing so many comments because I'm like focused on doing the video here. So I hate missing comments because you're all watching and I want to give you what you're looking for, which is my interaction, and because your interaction is really helpful to me. All right, so let's take a look at that. All right, so we're good there. And a quick game. Close out of that. All right, so now we'll get the Chromebook going. And we'll see what happens here. I'm going to take a few questions. I'm missing a bunch, so I'm just going to look on my screen here and see what we've got. Heck Boogie says he was playing Outriders on the xCloud. It's hard at 720. Yeah, it's when you get used to that 4K. Like I was playing Wreckfest on my 4K TV upstairs with the Series X, and it looks amazing. So I have it on the PC, and I was using the PC to play it for a while, but it looks just as good on the Xbox to me. So I'm really, it's fun now to start seeing games beginning to take advantage of the hardware, because that wasn't the case initially, right? So things are starting to look more interesting there. All right, so we're going to get the Chromebook going now, and what we've got is my this is the Google Pixelbook Go. And in full disclosure, Google sent this to the channel free of charge a little while back. It is a mess because my daughter has been using it. They use Chromebooks at school, and so she prefers, obviously, to use this one at home because it's nicer than the one they issued to the kids. And I think my daughter got like the really beat-up Chromebook because they knew that she had a nicer one at home. So the one she has is like the one that they issued her was like completely wrecked. All right. Martin Paulini is here. Hello. And I'm sorry, I'm all over the place right now. I'm like I got too many screens running at the same time. Okay, so now what I want to do is I am going to connect my HDMI to the Chromebook. So let's do that real quick here. Got this nice long HDMI cable here. And I've got a dongle. You need your dongles. And we'll connect over Wi-Fi also. I have a feeling that the target audience for this are Wi-Fi users. And we're on Wi-Fi 6 here with nobody else on right now. So I think we're going to have a good experience for the most part. And let me go into the Chromebook settings here. Sometimes my video system does not like Chromebooks and other weird display things. So we're going to figure this out real quick. So we're going to go to this. I want to have this mirror built-in display. Okay, and now we need to I'm going to have to hook this up to something else. So give me 1 second here, folks. We've got it all covered here. We're going to go NDI on the Chromebook. Oops. And while that's going, let me check the Amazon thing and see if anybody's chatting with me. I missed a couple of chats in the Amazon, a couple game requests. Okay. All right, there we go. All right. So Roger P. wants to try out Destiny 2 on xCloud. Is that on xCloud? All right, so we're going to add that. I'm going to go in and add my NDI input. If I crash, I will come back. Sometimes when I add NDI to vMix, it like crashes on me. But it did not do that this time. Perfect. Okay. All right, we've got a bit of a spoiler here because somebody said it didn't work on Chromebook for them. All right, so we're going to now repair but not repair. We're going to pair the Xbox controller now with the Chromebook. So that we can get this going. And I have this kind of reached over that way, and we're going to refocus the camera here. And let's go back to and we'll connect the Xbox wireless controller. Chromebooks have gotten pretty good with game controllers lately. So that's been good. So now what we need to do is we need to log in to, I got a super chat, by the way, from Chanfley. Yes, thank you, Chanfley. Today, as a matter of fact, today is my 2-week anniversary of my second Pfizer thing, so I am now officially vaccinated, but I've got no place to go. So I'm just going to stay in the house. All right, so we're going to go to xbox.com/play, but thank you for the super chat. And this is what it looks like when you're here. Now, if I log in, because I tried this on my Mac earlier, and I know it worked there, so I'm going to log in to my Xbox account here, and I got to find my password. And Ronald says, doesn't Chrome have issues with the Xbox controller? We will find out, because I have not tested it yet. This may be a real dud of a video. We'll see what happens when I get through the whole thing here. All right, so let's go over to edit. But if not, it makes for a good live stream. So I'm always looking for live stream topics. So this is one that I think could work well. Okay, so now I got to do my 2-factor authentication, get into my Microsoft account, and then we will be good to go. All right, let's see what happens. But I figured if it doesn't run on this thing, it won't run on anything, right? All right. Yes, GTA 5 is on Xbox Game Cloud. It is, absolutely. All right, so now it's telling me use a supported browser. So it is giving me a warning about the browser. And what are the supported browsers that it uses? I'm guessing Safari. Let's see. Now, I didn't see that on my Mac earlier. Yeah, so it wants Safari on the Mac. On Windows 10, Google Chrome 87.0 or later. And actually, I am pretty sure that I am on, get rid of all these notifications here. I'm pretty sure we are up to date on this one. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'm on Chrome 90 on this one. And I'm not sure what browser version it reports, but I'm going to say that we're going to be okay. It is giving me a warning, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. And let's take a look. You know, we'll do GTA 5. See if that works. So we'll do a little preview here, and then we'll shoot it if it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll shoot that too. Now you'll notice right now that it's got all the borders up and everything, but I think it will get us around that in a minute. And it's so weird seeing that on a Chromebook, right? Let me direct the audio to the speakers. All right, so now I think if I go here, I can go full screen. And while that's going, I'm going to check what we're looking at for bandwidth. So I'd be curious if this works, because somebody in the chat was saying, yeah, by the time GTA 5 loads. That's right. So maybe we'll demo a different, well, maybe I'll record some B-roll and just mention that, just to make the effort worth it, right? Now this is going to be continuing the console game that I left off at. Oh, hey, the controller works. Everything works. This is great. Again, it's still laggy. You know, it's funny though how much better the PC version looks in 4K versus this. Like, you really get spoiled by it. This works. Yeah, the graphical fidelity certainly is not there. Let's take a look at my bandwidth now, what we're consuming. Yeah, so this looks like it's pulling down about the same bandwidth as the phone was. It's about 12 megabits per second. And I can give you a look at like what it actually looks like here. And it looks a little jumpier on the output than it actually feels to me as I'm playing. So it could just be how this Chromebook is outputting video right now. So like it looks smoother on the screen than it does on the capture. So that's pretty cool. Let's get a little more B-roll here of me running around. I'm out of ammo. Hang on. Okay, let's find what I've got ammo for. I'm going to blow up the gas station. Yeah, it seems to work. Did anybody play this on the Xbox 360? Because I did. That's when I first got the game. I'm not shooting the dog. We're not doing that. Maybe we'll blow the gas station up, though. Can we blow up the gas station? Let's see. Here's the gas can. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I could do like a scene where he's running away, like, ah, run away from the gas station. All right, cool. All right. Dino Primero just noticed the Blockbuster thing in the background there. Yeah, it's kind of funny to have that there, isn't it? You know, what's neat about that Blockbuster case is that there was a time, like right when Blockbuster was about to go kaput, they released a new feature, if you will. All right, so we're going to take the Chromebook here from the top. Oops. They released a new feature that, let's let that finish up here. There we go. That was a good experience, I would say. They released a new feature. What was I talking about? Oh, where you could, if you did not return the game, you could buy it at the used price. So I did. Why not? And that was the game called Black. And what's interesting about that game is that if you watch my Xbox Series X video that I did, we pulled the game out of that case. It was sitting in there for years. We pulled it out of there and booted it right up on the Series X. It was awesome. So good stuff. All right, hang on a second. I got to fix this real quick. There we go. All right. Now, Destiny 2, is that on here? Let's see if it's there. Now, the one thing that's not going to work, all right, so we have a warning here. Oh, it's not supported in the browser. It says unsupported. Interesting. Let's continue and see what happens. But you're not going to get PC games on this because this is the console version. So keyboard and mouse control is out of the question. MSX Droid likes live streams. That's it. And it's not my fault if it doesn't. John Flay says, my 5G, yeah. Yeah, I have this urge to buy Windows computers all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on. Ed the Nerd says, how's the input lag? You don't want to buy this. You don't want to get into this for the input lag. It's not so great just yet. George said Blockbuster going out of business sales were great. You know what was funny about Blockbuster? Towards the end, I was walking in the store never having to buy anything. What I did is I was using they had a great subscription service. It was like the Netflix DVD thing, but it was designed for a linkage to the brick and mortar, which was their real advantage. And so what I ended up doing was if you went and rented a video, a DVD, from the mail-in service, you could return it to the store and rent a video at the store for free just by turning in the movie that you got in the mail. So I would do that, and then I would get 2 coupons a month where I could rent a game while I was there. So the whole time that I was subscribed to the Blockbuster service it was the same as Netflix. It was like $12 a month. This is, by the way, some Pellegrino, not anything worse than that. And so I was never actually buying anything in the store. I mean, every time I walked in there, I just had to, swap out. I was like, so meanwhile, they're paying employees, they're paying rent, all this stuff, and there's no way they were making enough money on me. Email address. I got to set up. I've never even played this game before. Okay, this is correct. I'm just going through the setup process here. So I was able to type on the keyboard, actually. That was interesting. So we're just waiting for this to load up here. Jesse says, when am I going to get myself a studio? What is this? This is a studio. It's in my basement, but it's a studio. One of these days. I don't like overhead. So I pay for the house already. I may as well use this part of the house for that. One day if I ever get bigger. But it's hard. It's hard to grow as a single channel here. At some point, I'd love to get like a set designer in here to make this look a little better. But the problem is that, oh, by the way, De Niro, there is a documentary for the last Blockbuster. I forgot which service it's on, but there's one more Blockbuster left, and it's in like Washington State or Oregon. It was such a great video and documentary, and they have a they kind of focus on the manager of the store, and she is so good. Like she is whoever the guy that owns the store like hired her years ago, and without question, like she's an outstanding hire. Adjust the brightness until the symbol on the left is visible. Oh, I see. Okay, so I think we want to do 5 here. Okay, I'm just going through the setup process because I've never played this before, so. You all need to forgive me about how awful I'm going to be at this game. Chris Allegretta says that GameFly. Yeah, I was a GameFly subscriber for a while. Yeah, I buy all of my Nintendo Switch games. I buy physical, and the reason is that we have 2 Switches in the house, and they're very unfriendly for multiple Switch. All right, I don't want to do any of this. I just want to play the game. So let's go. I like this Titan-looking guy. He looks pretty cool. We'll go with that. Oh no, the last one closed? When did that happen? They were doing like a sleepover party thing. I gotta look that up now. Last Blockbuster closed. Let's see. No, it looks like it's still open. I'm checking the news here. It says this is from a month ago in the Chicago Tribune. It said the world's last Blockbuster is more popular now thanks to its Netflix show. So I think it's still there. Everyone's going to have a debate about character class. Yeah, I have not. I will fully admit I have never played this before. So I'm just trying to get into the game here so I can see, just to demo it for a viewer. Jeffrey Powers says, give me a buzz. I can help with your set. I will do that. I will do that. Here's what I don't want to do with the set. I don't want to change. And again, this is not anything against any of my other fellow tech creators. And I'm not saying that to be disparaging to anyone. But I want to look different than everybody else. And this looks a lot different. And either you love it or you hate it. But I think that's what's so great about it is that generally I think the product is in the shot about 75% of the time in the videos that I do. Yeah, so you can't use the mouse because this is the console version. And it definitely, I don't know what resolution this is running at, but I'm definitely seeing some artifacts on the lower portion of the screen here. So my guess would be that you're not getting a 1080p stream. This is probably 720p that is getting scaled up on my computer screen here. But we're on a Chromebook, and it works. Roll wants to know, is the screen dirty or is that a reflection? Both. This is my daughter has been, I tried to wipe it off as best I could. My daughter uses this for school. She goes to school, thankfully. We've been open all year, but on days off or when she's home working on stuff, what's been nice is that they've really kind of focused around Google Classroom for all the stuff that they do. So when she's home doing her extra work, she likes, my daughter likes doing homework. I just love this kid because I never did. So the teacher often has stuff in the Google Classroom for them to play around with at home. So she jumps in and uses the Chromebook for that. And she was teaching her little sister, Spanish the other day because they have a Spanish, we have elementary school Spanish. So she was teaching her sister some Spanish, and there was a Spanish thing they could log into. It was pretty cool. My daughter loves Spanish class, which is great. She loves languages. She's always been very good at language. Yeah, so it's okay. It's the same kind of lagginess that we saw before, but it's running on a Chromebook. So I think that's pretty cool. Now this Chromebook has a touch screen, but it doesn't seem to respond to anything. All right, cool. Well, that works. So you know what we got to do now? We got to shoot this. So let's figure out where I left off, and we'll continue onward. But what's great so far is that this is working on more things than they said it would. Now, Roger P. says in the Amazon chat that xCloud is 1080p at 60, but not a very good one. And I would agree with that, because it looks like this is pulling down the same bandwidth that it did on the smaller screen. And you know what I give Microsoft a lot of credit for here is that they didn't have to do this until much later, but I think they're trying to just get it out there because they know that people want to do it, right? It's not going to be perfect, but you can play around with it. Should we do, is it Ori or Ori? Ori, right? I want to do like a game that we can demo. Oh, we can do Streets of Rage 4. That'd be kind of fun. Let's do that, because that'll help with the button pushing stuff. Okay, so let me see where we left off on where we're at here. Yeah, Bend, Oregon is what I was thinking. That's right. Dogman has a new Windows tablet coming, so I hope xCloud works. Yeah, it will definitely work with Windows. And Raul says, enjoying doing homework. Wish I had that mentality when I was younger too. Yeah, you know what's funny is like I would kill to go back to school and just have nothing to do but homework, right? I used to get so stressed out in college. Partly, like in college, they'd always load you up right at the end of the semester, so it felt like you were drowning all the time with work. But I would much rather have that. Raul just noticed the Pixelbook Go. This is a great Pixelbook. You know what's nice about it? I've reviewed it, so you can check out my review. It's really lightweight. It's thin. It's running with the iSeries Intel fanless processor, so it's completely fanless. It feels to me like a metal version of those old MacBooks. So I've really enjoyed this quite a bit. All right, so what we need to do here is we need to demo like how you get into full screen mode. So I think what I'll do is just, yeah, so right on that screen there. Okay, cool. All right, so let me see where we left off on the last clip. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got it loaded up server. So I'm going to let this finish loading, and when it's done, I got to find the other clip. Hang on a second, everybody. So iPhone part 3. There we go. Okay, hang on. I'm not watching the whole thing. I just want to make sure I got what I was setting out to get. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so the game is loaded up, and it's synced up all of my save game stuff, just like the Android version does. And again, this game is pretty fun to play because it's not all that demanding on the hardware. The lag feels about the same as it does on the Android side. It is a little laggier than some of the other streaming services out there, but it seems to be working okay here. The game looks great. And the iPad should work pretty well too, the same way. Let's take a look at a Chromebook now. Okay. So we're good there. And let me just make sure. Just want to see if we can get, make sure the speakers are activated here.
Or if we wanted to. So let's wait for this to finish up, and we'll be back when it's done.
Perfect.
All right, so everything is done now.
Okay, good. All right. So I make sure we had sound coming out of the speakers. Thank you, Sangbig Biswas 88 Gaming. Always nice to get a nice note like that. Thank you very much. Raul says they don't have these in Sweden. Looking at an Acer 713 or a Windows Lenovo IdeaPad. I like the IdeaPads quite a bit. Lenovo makes some good hardware. And we look at a lot of Lenovo's just because they make so much stuff. They just keep sending me review units to look at. So we've got plenty, and I've got even more. I got in the, I have an X1 2-in-1. I got the X1 Carbon in the other day and some other one that they sent me, the ThinkBook 13. So we're loaded up with Lenovo's. Right around this time of the year, they go nuts with their stuff. So, all right, so let's pick it up from here. And we'll continue on our video production journey here. Will Roland's got a very good question here. Do you think as game streaming gains popularity that more titles will be latency friendly? Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing, is they're going to start finding ways to do predictive latency and stuff. That is something I think they should be looking at. And Roger P., yes, I should try Dungeons, because I'm going to look at that in a minute, because I am curious if that touch display thing works on here. You know what? Why don't we look at that one? Because that one has like a special touch overlay, doesn't it? So let's see if this, then we'll record it. We're almost there. And then the one I just looked at, yeah, so I got the Gen 9 in, Anthony. That one, Jake is working on that one as we speak. So hopefully by early next week we'll have a review of that. I got in the X1 Nano, which is like less than a kilogram. That one I just reviewed. It's a really nice machine. Raul loves the Duet, the Chromebook Duet. That's a great one also. All right, so let's go full screen. So I don't think those touch display effects are going to work on here. But let's see. The Duet is a great Chromebook. If you want something inexpensive that's good.
Press any button.
Oh, look at that. It does work. So let me go log in. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shoot this as B-roll and I'll mention it. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to be super awkward, right? I was playing this with my daughters the other day. We've been playing River City Girls. I don't know if it's the most appropriate game for little kids, but we've been having a blast with it. My daughter takes karate, my older one, and she's not like she doesn't hit people. She's not into fighting or anything, but she loves the concept of the game that the boyfriends are kidnapped and the girlfriends have to rescue them. Like, she's totally into that concept. So we've been having fun with that. All right, let's record some B-roll here of me playing around with this. That was a good suggestion, though, to run this one, Roger P. Oops. I get the wrong button here. Exit. That was a mission selection there. Okay. So let me just start the B-roll again here. This one's a little bit laggy. That could be what they mean by the browser incompatibility. All right, cool. So I'm going to record that as B-roll. And we'll do this as 6A Minecraft Dungeons B-roll. And I'm going to mention that because we covered that in the prior video. Now, you know what's also interesting is that the Xbox button, which was working before, is not working now. So I have to go up and just manually click on that. I mean, that's not a big deal. I'm kind of stuck now. Yeah, I can't get out of it. All right, let's quit game. There we go. All right, cool. So I don't think it's going to be ideal on a Chromebook, but it might do okay. Raul says that this stutters on his phone as well. All right. So why don't we do Ori? What do you think? Just for the actual thing, because that's a good platformer. There's so many great games on here. That's one of the things I love about Game Pass. There's just so much good stuff on here. Okay. So let's do, I'm just indecisive. I'm very indecisive. We're going to do Ori. Okay. So Dogman wants to know, can you try, is PUBG on here? Let's look. PUBG is not on here. So why don't we do Ori? So we'll pick it up from here. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got the Chromebook up and running here. In full disclosure, this is a Google Book. One more time. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got the Chromebook running here, and in full disclosure, this came in free of charge from Google a little while back. It's a really nice one. This is the Pixelbook Go, but what you're seeing here should work on just about any Chromebook. Now, what we did is we booted up the Chromebook's internal web browser, the built-in Chrome browser. We went to xbox.com/play. We paired up the Xbox controller via Bluetooth, and now we're in. And what I'm going to do here is just select Ori, and we'll get the stream set up. Now, you'll notice that at the moment, we have the taskbar down here. We've got the top of the browser visible as well, but we're going to have an option to make this go full screen in a minute. And again, this is just running in the web browser, so it's running as efficiently as it did on the iPhone a few minutes ago. So we'll wait for everything to boot up. You can hear the sound is working fine. The sound worked fine on the iPhone also. We just had the volume off, and we'll let this go. Now, one thing I noticed is that the Xbox button doesn't seem to work here, so you will have to bring your mouse over to enable that. And what they've got here is an option to go full screen. Let me give you a full screen view of the full screen when we go into that mode. So now what that will do is make everything run full screen here as things get going. So let's let this game load up, and we'll see how it runs once we get into it. All right, I can live with that. Matt just wants to know, does it work with Samsung DeX? That is a good question. I would imagine it would through the Android app, because that's probably the more compatible way. So with this, what's the big deal about what Microsoft has done here is that it is no longer requiring just an Android device, and it runs in a browser. Well, this is odd. My controller is not getting picked up at all now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reset the controller. Let's repair that real quick. I wonder if touching the screen before kind of messed it up. So let's see if that will get it back. 'Cause remember, the controller did work a minute ago. You know, I may want to just reshoot this because I think the controller got locked up. Because I think the Xbox button, no, it doesn't work still. All right, oh, it does. All right, we're gonna take this from the top. Because it did in fact work where our controller got disconnected. I think I must have messed it up when I touched the screen. So that could be what happened here. So we're going to redo the opening of this particular portion here. And we're going to reshoot this. OK. Mark Smith wants to know which Chrome OS. This is Chrome OS 90. So I would update it to whatever the most recent one is. And you're going to get some warnings about browser compatibility. So just be aware of that. OK, let's try this again. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got our Chromebook loaded up here. We went to xbox.com. Actually, I got to go out of that. There we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got our Chromebook loaded up here. In full disclosure, this did come in free of charge from Google a little while back for review. This is the Pixelbook Go, but any Chromebook should work like this one's working right now. We are on Chrome OS 90, which is the latest version of Chrome OS. We went to xbox.com/play and logged in, and we've got the interface here. And what I'm going to do real quick is load up Ori and see how that plays, and we'll let it do its thing. We're seeing what we saw here before with the iPhone. Now you'll note that we do have the taskbar down here along with the browser's address bar at the top, and there is a way to get rid of that. So we're going to let this load up, and once the game begins, we should be able to get this running full screen. And one thing I noticed in an earlier take is that it's using about the same amount of bandwidth that the phone was using, about 10 to 12 megabits per second. So the image quality won't look all that much better. If anything, it might look a little poorer on this display because this is a 1080p display and is much larger. So I was noticing some artifacts and stuff on the visual quality that I didn't really notice on the phone because it was on a much smaller screen. Now what I can do here is go into the upper left-hand corner of the screen and go to full screen, and that will make it fill up the entire display here. And I also noticed that my Xbox button here works too. Now a little bit earlier, we tried out a game that had some enhanced touch controls for the Xbox Cloud Service, Minecraft Dungeons. And as you can see here on screen, it actually works with this Chromebook's touch display. It's not ideal by any stretch, but it was kind of fun to see that they were able to get all of those touch controls mapped in the same way that we experienced on the Android app when we looked at that a little while back. So let me get into the game here, and we'll see how well it performs on the Chromebook. I think that worked. What do you think, everybody? Let me watch that. And now I can actually just rename that file one more time. There we go. All right, so let's take a look. I just want to watch this real quick and make sure it's what I'm looking for, and I'll be right back. There we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got our Chromebook loaded up here. In full disclosure, this did come in free of charge from Google a little while back for review. This is the Pixelbook Go, but any Chromebook should work like this one's working right now. We are on Chrome OS 90, which is the latest version of Chrome OS. We went to xbox.com/play and logged in, and we've got the interface here. And what I'm going to do real quick is load up Ori and see how that plays, and we'll let it do its thing. We're seeing what we saw here before with the iPhone. Now you'll note that we do have the taskbar down here along with the browser's address bar at the top, and there is a way to get rid of that. So we're going to let this load up, and once the game begins, we should be able to get this running full screen. And one thing I noticed in an earlier take is that it's using about the same amount of bandwidth that the phone was using, about 10 to 12 megabits per second. So the image quality won't look all that much better. If anything, it might look a little poorer on this display because this is a 1080p display and is much larger. So I was noticing some artifacts and stuff on the visual quality that I didn't really notice on the phone because it was on a much smaller screen. Now what I can do here is go into the upper left-hand corner of the screen and go to full screen, and that will make it fill up the entire display here. And I also noticed that my Xbox button here works too. Now, a little bit earlier, we tried out a game that had some enhanced touch controls for the Xbox Cloud service, Minecraft Dungeons. And as you can see here on screen, it actually works with this Chromebook's touch display. It's not ideal by any stretch, but it was kind of fun to see that they were able to get all of those touch controls mapped in the same way that we experienced on the Android app when we looked at that a little while back. So let me get into the game here, and we'll see how well it performs on the Chromebook. Okay, that was good. I could live with that. All right, so I think I'm going to pull this. There we go. All right. So let me start it from here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got the game loaded, and it is playing here. It definitely does not look anywhere nearly as good as it does on my Series X on the 4K TV upstairs. It definitely looks a little soft in its image quality. You can see a better view of it here. The input latency is still kind of an issue here. It's not spectacular, but the game is running, and you can play it, and you'll be able to have a pretty good time with it, I think, on a Chromebook, which is something you couldn't do with this service just a couple of days ago. So altogether, it seems to be working as advertised. I was able to sync up my save game with the console save that I have in the Xbox Cloud there, and all is good here on a Chromebook, which wasn't even on one of its supported devices. The sound is great on this too, as it was on the iPhone. Now, one thing I did notice on a few of the games is that it was giving me a warning about the web browser, but you can go past the warning and it'll just boot up and play. So for the most part, I haven't found anything that doesn't run here. We did have the controller kind of lose connection with the app or the web app, and we had to reset the controller, but after that, it's been working just fine. So it might be a little flaky on Chromebooks, but it does work, and it seems to be working quite well. And this is a better way to go versus going through the Android app running on Chrome OS, because you can go out to the Google Play Store on most Chromebooks and download the Game Pass app there. But I think this web solution is the better option for doing the Xbox Cloud game streaming. All right, I think that was good. Did you all like that? And next up is the M1 Mac. And let me just check the video, make sure I'm good with that. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got the game loaded, and it is playing here. It definitely does not look anywhere nearly as good as it does on my Series X on the 4K TV upstairs. It definitely looks a little soft in its image quality. You can see a better view of it here. The input latency is still kind of an issue here. It's not spectacular, but the game is running, and you can play it, and you'll be able to have a pretty good time with it, I think, on a Chromebook, which is something you couldn't do with this service just a couple of days ago. So altogether, it seems to be, which is something you could get time with it, I think, and you can play it, and you'll be able to have a pretty good time with it, I think, on a Chromebook, which is something you couldn't do with this service just a couple of days ago. So altogether, it seems to be working as advertised. I was able to sync up my save game with the console save that I have in the Xbox Cloud there, and all is good here on a Chromebook, which wasn't even on one of its supported devices. The sound is great on this too, as it was on the iPhone. Now, one thing I did notice on a few of the games is that it was giving me a warning about the web browser, but you can go past the warning and it'll just boot up and play. So for the most part, I haven't found anything that doesn't run here. We did have the controller kind of lose connection with the app or the web app, and we had to reset the controller, but after that, it's been working just fine. So it might be a little flaky on Chromebooks, but it does work, and it seems to be working quite well. And this is a better way to go versus going through the Android app running on Chrome OS, because you can go out to the Google Play Store on most Chromebooks and download the Game Pass app there. But I think this web solution is the better option for doing the Xbox Cloud game streaming. Okay, I'm good with it. So now we are going to do the Mac. And we'll get that, roll that one in here. There's our Mac. Get that positioned here. And let me find, I'm going to have this one running on Ethernet just because. And I just need to get my HDMI reconnected here. So where did that connection go? I've got a million HDMI cables all over the place. So I've got this little Elgato. This is kind of a neat little utility dock here. This is an Elgato Thunderbolt dock. It doesn't have power delivery, but it's got 2 display outputs, a USB port, and gigabit Ethernet. So that tends to work pretty nicely. All right, so now let me just make sure that we are synced up here. Yep. And I'm like directly wired into my video system. The Mac plays nicely with the video system, not everything else does. All right, so now we're going to pair up the game controller with the Mac again. So we're going to do that. I will say that it's been good to see that all of the major PCs now work with game controllers without a lot of aggravation, so that's been a good thing. So let me just finish pairing up here. And we'll get that going. All right, we are connected. And do I have it running? I already have it running. Perfect. So we have it running here. And we're going to run this on the M1 Mac. I had a game request here, Banjo-Kazooie. Is that an Xbox 360 title? It is, right? Is that the one? There's Banjo-Tooie and Banjo-Kazooie. So we can try that one in a minute. I do want to do I think a game that is more on the Xbox One path that I can get into quickly. Because I know a lot of you want me to try all this other stuff out, but I want to get into something quickly. So I'm running out of time here. I was going to try the show here, but I'm sure that's going to be involved in the whole big to-do over getting set up with that. We could always do GTA 5, because we did not do that on the other one. Give me some game picks. So, because Banjo's an Xbox 360 game, and I think people are going to want to see something a little more modern, right? Maybe I'll do MLB The Show. What the heck? All right. So let's pick it up from me here, and then we'll come back to the Mac. Okay. So we're going to do The Show just for the heck of it, because everyone's making a big deal about this game. I haven't even played it yet, but why not? It's going to look better on my Xbox Series X upstairs, but we'll just go with it from there. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got my Mac hooked up now. Again, we repeated the same thing we've done on all the other platforms. We logged into xbox.com/play. We paired up our Bluetooth controller here, and what I'm going to run is the baseball game everybody's excited about here, MLB The Show. Now what you're going to see here, just like we had on the Chromebook, is a warning about the browser. Oh, it's got a controller issue this time. Controller disconnected. The controller is not disconnected, it's connected. Hang on a second. What's going on with the controller? Yeah, it's connected. Look at that, the controller actually works with, let me see if I see that warning somewhere else. Oh, see, that one just booted right up. Let me get the screen cleared off a little bit. And what's cool is you can have this running and then keep your chat window going there too. Oh, I got to put some screen cleaner on here. This thing's gotten messy. This one's been in the kitchen, so it's picking up all the stuff that we cook with up there. It wasn't like in front of the stove or anything, but it's... Yeah, so this seems to work fine. This is a fun game. It has like all of the elements of the Nintendo version, but it's just, obviously improved graphics and it's cool. Way Forward makes some really, I like the Way Forward stuff. They make Shantae also. My girls like that game too. They've been having fun with that. So the premise of this game is that the boyfriends get kidnapped, and they have to rescue the boyfriends. And so we are right now trying to break into the mall. We had to steal a key from a security guard who's sleeping in his house. So I think we got the key. And it's kind of cool. It just brings you right back to where we left off. I'm not going to demo this game just because I don't think this is like a modern enough thing for people. All right, let's quit this one, because I hit that one by accident. So let's go into the baseball game here and just kind of see what happens. It's just weird that it was throwing that error. You know what I might do? I may go in via Safari, because that's the recommended browser on the Mac. So let's try that and just see what happens. So let's do Safari, which means I'm going to have to log into everything all over again. Xbox.com/play. So I'm going to sign in again. Well, the good news is that I got everything saved with my fingerprint here. Let me just get my two-factor going. One of the cool things about the Apple ecosystem is that things really work well together. So I can pull my two-factor authentication from my authentication app on the iPhone and just paste it right in. So I don't have to like type it all over again. Like the clipboard stays synchronized between the platforms. Okay, so we're going to do the baseball game. So I think that one might be the one that, where'd it go? Am I crazy? We just saw that, didn't we? There it is, okay. The show 21. Okay, so let's try it. We're going to try the show. What the heck? All right, here we go. From the top. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got my Mac out now. This is the MacBook Air with the M1. Microsoft recommends Safari on the Mac, so that's what we're going to try out here. And I'm just going to load up like a really hot game right now that everybody's talking about, the show 21. Now, it's interesting is I'm getting an error about the controller here. I'm going to continue through that. I was not getting that error with the other games that I was trying on this earlier today. And we're going to let this load up here. And once this is done, we'll jump into the game and see how it plays. I probably should have repeated the fact that we did the same process, but it's probably obvious at this point. 8, this is Mac part 1. All right. MSX Droid, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate your presence and help today, and you stopped by the other day too, so thank you. Here's an interesting comment about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It got released because a lot of people, yeah, River City Girls is really good. I've been really enjoying that. All right, so here we've got the baseball. I wonder if I'm going to have like copyright issues if I'm like, this is all like MLB video playing here, so we're going to wait for that to finish up. How do we get through that? Okay. MLB is like super quick on copyright strikes. So this is a Sony game. That's why everyone's making a big deal about this? Because this is like a Sony game on the Microsoft console and the streaming platform? Is that the big deal? And Orion's Angel said state of play is starting any minute now. So that's probably why I'm losing all my viewers. And we're just waiting for it to load. So remember that this cloud thing is like an original Xbox One, not the Series S or X up there in the cloud. So I'm guessing over time they'll up the capacity of those. But you're not playing, I think what's neat about this is that you're not playing the PC versions of these games. These are all the console versions. But boy, does this take a long time to load, huh? Okay, so we're going to go... I like how they get you right into the game here. Let me do the... I guess I'm a New York Mets fan, if I had to pick one. I'll do the Mets. I had a really cool Mets spring jacket when I was a kid. I loved that jacket. We're going to do casual. I'm a beginner. Yeah, give me everything easy. Would you like to practice and select which gameplay options work best for you? Okay. Well, this is good. I can just like play a quick game here. So my first baseball game that I ever went to was at Shea Stadium with my dad. And we went to the game. We had like nosebleed seats, like way up in the rafters. And I'm seeing where we left off. So we were way up in the rafters, and when we got there, it was like a weekday night. So we were staying at we went and visited my grandparents in Brooklyn, New York. We were staying there overnight, and we went to the game, and we had the nosebleed seats. When we got there, it was a weekday game, and they said to us, when we walked in the door, this guy walks up to us, and my father thought it was a scalper, right? And he said, here's 2 tickets for right above the press box. We were, I kid you not, right on the first base line. I was 2 or 3 rows from the first base. Can you imagine? Like as a kid, like the first baseball game you ever go to? And I guess what happened was they were, sorry, I'm just looking at the screen here. What happened was so I'm going to pause the game. Can I pause the game? How do I hit the, I'm trying to see how to play this game here. Oh, you have to use the controller? How do you hit the ball? So what happened was we were, sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out. So the game was televised, and sorry, everybody, I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm supposed to be doing here. The game was televised. Hang on. And they didn't know, they didn't have enough people like to fill up the stands to make it look like there was enough people there. So they basically brought us down to the 3rd row seat on the first baseline. It's amazing. And as a little kid, those players looked enormous. It was crazy. All right, so I guess this button actually hits the ball. Okay. I'm just going to make sure I understand how this plays here. All right, I'm just going to, I don't like this directional hitting thing. No, I don't want to use directional hitting. This is what these games are so freaking complicated. Like, I like Atari baseball. Normal swing, contact swing, power swing. Okay, X, B, and A. Okay, so that's what I was doing wrong. So you got to hit the button at the right time, because nothing's happening when I'm pushing the button. This could be the input lag issue, right? Let's try this again. There we go. I wish I could hit a ball that far in real life. 3, 2, 1. Actually, now I'm going to turn the sound off because it's playing more copyrighted music. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here we are playing MLB The Show. And this, again, is streaming from the Microsoft servers. Now, just like before, we can go full screen on this. Although, you know what? Hang on a second. You know what's interesting here? Oh, wait. It's fine. That's right, because we're on... Never mind. Because I am mirroring the screen. And so this is not a 16:9 display, so it doesn't look like it's filling the screen up, even though it is. All right, so let's try this again. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here we are playing MLB The Show. Looks pretty nice on here, and I just actually hit the ball, which is great. Now what we're going to do, just like we did before, is go full screen. Now the reason why this isn't filling the screen right now for you is because we're running with a display that's not a 16:9 aspect ratio. Actually, it's still not looking right. Hang on a second. This is what it looks like. So there's like bars on the left and the right. Hang on a minute. I just want to check the resolution. We're definitely at 1080p. I wonder if this game like purposely doesn't fill the screen up because... Yeah, we're at 1080. Yep. All right, let's go back, because now we may have discovered a little glitch here. See that? So if I go full screen, it's leaving room on the left and the right. So let's go out of here, because this may not be a good example if... and I'll try something like, let's just try GTA 5 for the heck of it. It's probably the wrong game to try because it takes so freaking long to load it. I have a feeling it might be due to Safari, which is the recommended browser, but let's see what happens when it loads up. Anthony Gwynn wants to know, did we test the touch display? Yes, we did actually a little bit earlier with Minecraft Dungeons. And while this is going, I will pull up the B-roll so you can see that. Here, let me load it in real quick. But it did work. I'll show you what it looks like. It's not ideal. But it does exactly what it does on mobile, except it's doing it in the browser. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, it does in fact work the way they say it would. All right, let me see if this is going to improve the situation for us here. Full screen. Yeah, it looks like it's leaving like a little bit of extra room on there. See that on the bottom? Well, let's wait for it to load up, and we'll know for sure in a minute. Anthony says his sister was the lonely Mets fan. Yeah, so when I went to that game, it was in 1982. I was in first grade. Mookie Wilson was playing. And so when Mookie got up to bat, everyone starts going, moo. And I said to my dad, why is everybody booing this guy? He's like, no, they're mooing, not booing. I said, oh, okay. It was lots of fun. All right. Yeah, it's doing the same thing here. That's not good. Okay, so that's Safari. So this may not be the best way to play the game. So let's go out of here. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go back and do it in Chrome again and see if that is the better way to go. And I'm just going through my screens here to make sure I've got everything where I want it to be. All right, so let's try this again. All right, so let me see how that worked on in the opening, because I think I talked about Safari, didn't I? Let's take a look. One. All right, so we got my Mac out now. This is the MacBook Air with the M1. Microsoft recommends Safari on the Mac, so that's what we're going to try out here. And I'm just going to load up like a really hot game right now that everybody's talking about, the Show 21. Now, it's interesting is I'm getting an error about the controller here. I'm going to continue through that. I was not getting that error with the other games that I was trying on this earlier today. And we're going to let this load up here, and once this is done, we'll jump into the game and see how it plays. So I am so confused. Like, I was just watching a PlayStation logo start up on here. And by the way, I'm going to reshoot the entire Mac intro if this doesn't, in fact, look better full screen. I think this is better. Yeah, this is filling the screen up. I got to pull this off, but it's correct now. See that? It's filling up everything. So we're going to reshoot the whole thing because they say to use Safari. Safari's not the best way to go because it's full screen now. All right, so we're going to ditch the current Mac part here. This is how the sausage gets made on this channel, everybody. Trial and error. Option. All right, so we're going to pick me up on the Mac. 3, 2, 1. Doing the Xbox Cloud game streaming. Okay, so we're going to pick it back up on the Mac and go from there. Okay. Yeah, so it definitely was not a good experience on Safari. And Sam Lazar uses Brave. Yep, Brave should work fine too, because it is pretty much a Chromium deal there, so that should work. And George, yes, looks like, yeah, it's funny because I'm pretty sure it said on the thing there that you should be running it in Safari, but that doesn't seem to be the way to do it. All right, so we're gonna kind of reset to this and kind of do the shtick we were doing before. And I did try this on Windows, so I'll just mention that it runs on Windows just fine. So I'm not concerned about the Windows thing, especially because they say it works with Windows, and it does. But I think it's more fun to kind of try the stuff that other people may not be thinking about trying, right? Okay. I don't want the Dodgers. I want my Mets. Hang on. It could just be the display is better on the Mac, but it does look really, oops, I don't want to be the Twins. I want to be the Mets. All right, here we go. So when this game boots up, it's got a PlayStation logo on there. What's that all about? Sam Lazar from Australia wants to know, is this available in Australia? I don't think so yet. I think it's just the US. Am I right about that? I'm not sure. Got two questions about outside of the US. And George said, I saw a study about browsers. Yeah, I think there's no question Chrome is the browser that you do not want to use if you want privacy, because it is a Google product, and they will collect everything they can collect. But Brave, even though it's based on the Chrome code, it uses the open source component of it. And I found on the M1 Mac in particular that Brave benchmarks a lot faster. By the way, this game, you should not be running this on an Xbox One. It takes forever to load this. My goodness. It's been loading like, I've been blabbering away. It's just been loading away there. All right, so we go back to hitting here. All right, here we go. All right, let me start back over here. It actually plays better. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we've got the Mac booted up. Again, we paired up our Bluetooth controller, the Xbox controller here, with the Mac. Everything seems to be working. Our Xbox button works, and everything looks nice on screen. And of course, we can go full screen with this. Now, I did try it on Safari earlier, and it was not looking so great on Safari. So I think you'll want to stick with Chrome or a Chrome-compatible browser like Brave or something. We're running Chrome right now, and it seems to be looking just fine. I would have the sound on right now, but there's a lot of copyrighted music that is playing. I can tell you the sound sounds fine to me, so no real issues there, and the game looks pretty good. Again, we're seeing some artifacts in the visual quality, but it seems to be playing just fine, and all the issues we're having with latency on the other platforms is evident here. But the good news is that this works on the Mac, just like it works on the Chromebook and on the iPhone. So if you were looking to play around with this, which is a part of your Game Pass Ultimate subscription, this might be worth playing around with. It's not perfect yet. It's not as good as GeForce Now or Stadia, but it's working now across many platforms in a way that it wasn't before. And I think it's a pretty cool addition to something that you are already paying for, so you may as well play around with it a little bit. And hopefully they look at maybe adding some options to improve the amount of bandwidth that it uses, because if you have the bandwidth and don't have a data cap to worry about, you might want to stream a little bit more bit rate for better image quality. And they definitely have to work on the input latency, which was an issue we saw on the Android version of this as well. But give it a shot, see how it works for you. I did try it on Windows 10 a little bit earlier. It worked just as well as it did on here. I think Chrome is probably the best browser to work with, but of course Microsoft would love you to try it on Microsoft Edge on the Windows side, but it worked just as well as you saw on all of these other platforms. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, I can live with that. All right, let me add the conclusion to this. And I may have to shoot another little outro because I can't ask for comments on the Amazon version of the video. Let's take a look and see how this part came out. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we've got the Mac booted up. Again, we paired up our Bluetooth controller, the Xbox controller here, with the Mac. Everything seems to be working. Our Xbox button works, and everything looks nice on screen. And of course, we can go full screen with this. Now, I did try it on Safari earlier, and it was not looking so great on Safari. So I think you'll want to stick with Chrome or a Chrome-compatible browser like Brave or something. We're running Chrome right now, and it seems to be looking just fine. I would have the sound on right now, but there's a lot of copyrighted music that is playing. I can tell you the sound sounds fine to me, so no real issues there, and the game looks pretty good. Again, we're seeing some artifacts in the visual quality, but it seems to be playing just fine, and all the issues we're having with latency on the other platforms is evident here. But the good news is that this works on the Mac, just like it works on the Chromebook and on the iPhone. So if you were looking to play around with this, which is a part of your Game Pass Ultimate subscription, this might be worth playing around with. It's not perfect yet. It's not as good as GeForce Now or Stadia, but it's working now across many platforms in a way that it wasn't before. And I think it's a pretty cool addition to something that you are already paying for, so you may as well play around with it a little bit. And hopefully they look at maybe adding some options to improve the amount of bandwidth that it uses, because if you have the bandwidth and don't have a data cap to worry about, you might want to stream a little bit more bit rate for better image quality, and they definitely have to work on the input latency, which was an issue we saw on the Android version of this as well. But give it a shot, see how it works for you. I did try it on Windows 10 a little bit earlier. It worked just as well as it did on here. I think Chrome is probably the best browser to work with, but of course Microsoft would love you to try it on Microsoft Edge on the Windows side, but it worked just as well as you saw on all of these other platforms. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm good. So yeah, I think we're in good shape. So I'm going to see if I can get this edited. What do you think, everybody? I like to get my videos up by like 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I just want to check and see how, and I also don't like to upload videos before the one that I just uploaded is kind of done running its course. So I look at the real-time charts. So yeah, so it looks like last night's video is kind of at that point. So I may just try to get this one up and upload it. I got to convert the video and all this other stuff so I can edit it. But yeah, I think it's good. It's good stuff. George says, you know what's funny is that the pressure of you all watching me actually makes it work better off the cuff, but I don't script anything. Partly because it's just easier and quicker for me to not script it all. So that's how that works. All right. Well, I am going to call it a day on the stream and get to work on editing this thing, and we will go from there. So I hope you all had a great afternoon, and I really greatly appreciate you all watching with me. P-Roz wants to know what time is it for me. It is 5:22 p.m., so I want to get cranking on this and get this up as soon as possible. So yeah, thank you all for helping me out. So I will be back again very shortly, and in the meantime, keep doing your thing, and I will be back again very soon with another stream. I got another stream we'll probably be doing tomorrow because I got more stuff I got to test out. So we'll do a little working session. No shoot. We're going to be playing around with that QNAP network attached storage again. So that'll be a fun one. We're going to take it apart and everything else. So good stuff. All right, everybody. I will see you all soon. Laby Tech is in the same time zone as me. So I will catch you all in a little bit. And thanks again for tuning in. Bye-bye.